Hello. My name is David. And this is an introduction to my talks, about a series of thought development programs, designed to aid writers, and storytellers, gain access to the powerful mental realms, between their ears. The domain, where all creative thought, issues forth, into the cold, hard, light of day. This is not a debate. This is a simple discourse of the essence of human beings, of you, and, of me. It's also an opening, perhaps, of all that goes into making us what we are today. To begin the task of introducing you to the essence of yourself, we will need to draw your attention to a fundamental idea, laid forth, in a particular, thought-provoking, way. Hopefully, we will then be in a much better position, to perceive the extent, of the human being's, true form. And that is, the form of an intricate, volatile, but exciting, machine. A living machine. A biodynamic machine. For all intents and purposes, we are an interdependent, bioactive mechanism, with various earthly needs, and deep-rooted genetic compulsions. However, this is a machine with a secret. This is a machine that has an invisible driver. A driver that is, not, us. This is a hidden driver. Beyond our sight. Beyond even our comprehension. But not beyond our reach. If we did but know of its presence. This machine, however, is still very much a mystery in the between the ears department. So what we have is a problem. A problem that can be defined as a shortage of reliable knowledge. Of course, we can conjure up plenty of guesswork, but very little in the way of real comprehension. And this is not a modern problem, as history clearly shows. It can become an unbroken, life-absorbing theme. Unfortunately, understanding the mechanics of any problem is only of marginal significance if that problem does not have a solution, or cannot be rectified. And, if you will permit me, I would like to paint a picture, in your mind, using the word religion. This word is a very old word, and one of its earlier forms was religer, or religare, which translates as to tie back, to rejoin, or to reconnect. But to rejoin, or reconnect, to what? Now this is a real and deeply absorbing question. Before we go any further, we have come to the inevitable stage where examples and for instances are usually called for, so that you, the listener, can begin to know, by way of actual experience, exactly what this is all about. Some may call it a taster. I simply call it a short illustration, where we can test your mental ability, in a way that should easily highlight your potential for bigger and better things. I've been carrying out this little exposure exercise with people for the past 40 years. Now, it's not important, to begin with, whether you actually see, or simply just feel, the effect. Find a nice, safe, comfortable spot, seated of course, and settle yourself down. Allow your breathing to become calm and regular. Just give it a few minutes. Then close your eyes. And allow it to begin. In your mind's eye. Hold this one thought. You are standing outside your front door. You have the door key in your hand. You reach out and unlock the door. You push the door open. You move inside and close the door. You're inside. You wait. Your eyes are still closed. You move your head left and then right. You know where you are in comparison to the other rooms in your home. Without physically moving. Your thoughts enter each room in your home. You can see, or feel, the inside of those rooms. You sense the rooms just as though you were physically in them. Your thoughts now move from room to room. You see the furniture, and the decorations, and anything else that you know is present in those rooms. When you have finished looking around, you return to the front door. You move outside. You close the door. You move away. You stop and turn. Everything you have just done, you can do again. But this time, you find yourself inside your home, without having to move through the front door. Your thoughts are beginning to increase their speed. You find you can instantly be inside any room in your home, and then you find that you can be in all of those rooms at the same time. And you can see, or feel, the presence of yourself in those rooms. Stop now. Please, stop now, and open your eyes. That was a simple exercise in perceptual dynamics. The more you practice, the more proficient you will become. The awareness of entering your home, a place your perceptions knows well, clearly indicates the functions of memory, and its associative behavior. You will, perhaps notice, that whatever you did, was done at your normal height, at the level of your eyes. This is pure cognitive recall, or memory to you and me. At this stage you're simply dealing with inanimate, constructional events, in temporal space. Or, real time, as it unfolds in ordinary human terms. When you moved out of your home, and then suddenly found yourself back inside, without having to actively do anything, you were experiencing the bending of the apperceptive laws of spatial time itself. This is what happens when we dream. When you became aware of occupying every room at the same time, your mind's eye view will have altered its angle of perception. You will probably have been aware of being well above your normal eye level, and your physical presence will have attempted to encompass, or overlay, everything all at once. From here on in, the speed of your perceptive experience will have increased, perhaps, to the point of dizziness. If we don't hold these deliverances in check, they revert to their own functional speed. And the speed of collection and deliverance of information, or your perceptive impressions, is always that of the subconscious mind. And this is a staggering order of magnitude faster than the conscious mind's functioning capability. And time is relevant, in linear form. That's one bit after another. Only to consciousness. Time only has a physical presence out here in the real world. Inside our minds, time and its compression and expansion can be called upon, at will. For a writer who is reliant upon an unknown creative ability, it is possible to sleep, and dream, or mentally experience, episode after episode, of an entire lifetime, either real, or imagined, or selectively created, and perceptively manufactured, however, wherever and whenever the dreamer desires. Once the creation is formalized, the writing practically does itself. It's a bit like automatic driving, where we may have driven for miles and miles, with very little memory, or awareness, of how we got there. Most of the time, our awareness is turned outwards, projecting into the world at large. We are coexisting and interacting with everything around us. Sometimes the interaction is situationally relevant. But most of the time, it is not. Even when we daydream, we are submerged in a sea of incoming, informational, noise. Every movement, every action, every thought, has a source cause and a final, dispositional, effect. We are never aware of these because we all have something below the threshold of awareness, that we call the unconscious, the subconscious, and the preconscious mind. All three of those words carry conceptual differences for the behavior of the unconscious mind. However, most people may perhaps believe that because something is out of sight, it really is out of mind. Don't you believe it? The unconscious, subconscious, and preconscious labels are subjective. They are imaginary ideas brought into being to explain a place, or places, in the mind, which do not physically exist. They are haunts, or stamping grounds, where thoughts, feelings, ideas, and memories come together, to be woven into an understandable, acceptable form, before we actually perceive them. And by perceive, I mean that all of the intelligent work has already been done, before you or I get our mental hands on this deliverance. Our conscious mind is a receiver, not a creator. We get the picture, or thought, only after it has formed. And this means that a great deal of work is being done, on our behalf, that we don't know about. This is the place where the dice of life are rolled. Call it what you will, the classroom, the games room, the workshop, or, if there is conflict, the battleground. This is the place where our capacities and capabilities are set. If you can achieve something, then this is the place that generates the ability. If you cannot perform as you wish, then that desired achievement is prevented from becoming a reality, by something that can influence these awesomely powerful mechanisms. Something in our minds can prevent us from experiencing, or fulfilling, our true capabilities. Your mind, and my mind, are probably no different to any other mind on the planet. Any performance enhancement, or shortfall, lies not in the whats of the bioformation, but in the wherefores of the mental set or thought patterning. It is not that everyone's mind cannot perform obvious intricate mental feats. It is nearer to the truth to say that the mind refuses to functionally cooperate. It simply refuses to do, on lots of occasions, what we want it to do. You simply have very little idea just how powerful you really are, do you? Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Mozart, and dear old Albert Einstein were not the only ones to be equipped with a brain at birth. These restrictive practices that hold back our physical and mental freedoms, however, can be released. But that release will have to be initiated from inside your mind. When we influence these thought processes, we can begin to control our own world. These mental mechanisms are paramount to any writer, artist, musician, designer. In fact, everyone who needs a high-performance mind should look to become acquainted with their own mind. This familiarity will pay tremendous dividends in your quest to achieve what you thought was impossible. Very little is impossible, or out of reach, especially tasks concerning memory recall and enthusiastic commitment. Another aspect of our subconscious mind is that they do not sleep like we do. They continue to function around the clock. What do you think puts you to sleep at night and wakes you up in the morning? Who, or what, do you think is looking after you while you're out of touch with reality? When you're not at home, so to speak, something, that is not you, keeps the lights burning, awaiting your return. Mankind, through the endeavors of a small scattering of a certain type of nonconformist, non-aligned, inconveniently bothersome individuals, has attained the dubious title of superior achiever. As a race we see ourselves as overcomers, as convincers, persuading one force to overcome another by either superior numbers, fear, trickery, compliance, conformity, or even just the byproduct of simple interaction. Long before we are actually capable of understanding anything, we possess, and display, mimicry. We are mimetic, until we become cognitive. That is, we copy others until such time as we are able to produce for ourselves. That production can be anything at all that we should, in hindsight, be capable of. In essence, However, the vast majority of the human race rarely moves beyond the mimetic stage. That's not a criticism. Merely an observation. I'll try and give you an indication of this now. Please observe your thoughts and the pictures that may form in your mind's eye over the next few minutes. Now, this is about you. So, forgetting your flesh and blood offsprings, think back and recall your contribution to the human race. What have you given to humanity that is new? What have you created that is, in any way, beneficial to your fellow beings? By what amount have you added to the collected store of human knowledge? Remember, I'm not talking about the individuals who are doing the work here. Laying bricks or reaping the harvest are things that we have learned from others. No, I'm talking about the individuals who first conceived the ideas of bricks for buildings, and of planting crops so that they can be harvested. I am talking about something that someone has, born fresh from mind, actually created, either by accident, or design, so that the rest of humanity, the non-creators, might have an easy time during their, mentally unoriginative, mentally infertile and wasteful existence. Have you played any part in adding to this treasure ship floating through space? And if you haven't, I wonder if there's anything we can do to rectify that deficit. Have you a gift, or offering, regardless of how useless, to give to the rest of us? Are you capable of producing anything new, or are you destined to walk in the shadow of a few of our, truly beyond the mimetic stage, predecessors? Let's take a look at a few examples to give a better idea of mass mimetic stagnation. Have you created a new language, better mathematics, life-saving medicines or vaccines, higher yield food crops, labor, or life-saving devices or machines? Have you added to the aesthetic quality of human existence by way of art, poetry, writing, philosophy, psychology, or even a new, piece of mind-giving, religion? Have you given anything of your own to the world? Have you added anything of wealth or beauty to the treasure ship of knowledge? Even if it's only in the form of a simple, cross-pollination, that is, taking something that already exists, and molding it into some other form that might benefit others. If you haven't, don't feel too bad about it, as you are in the company of a majority. At least 95% of the rest of humanity haven't contributed anything either. I wonder how many of them are just simply waiting in the wings, chomping at the bit, ready and eagerly awaiting their turn to shine forth with who knows what. History, and hindsight, both clearly show that there is the profoundest of differences between what we know, and what we think we know. And it has been said that, what man cannot state, he does not know. This, it is believed, limits our thoughts and, therefore, our capabilities. This is, of course, absolute nonsense. These sorts of statements, when made by people in authority, have vast potential for creating barren, educational wildernesses, where only the verbally fluent may succeed. The non-experience of pompous authority and its prescindent armchair warriors reaches ever out into the future with savage tentacles of blind, ignorant, destruction. Is what you think you know, or what you think you don't know, keeping you in chains? Lots of people try to break free of the bonds of ignorance and the sense of wrongness. And some ways are, by their very nature, better than others. Taking drugs, drinking, covert love affairs, religions, holidays, emigration, the list is endless. But they all have a commonality: their recipients are looking for freedom from circumstance, oppression, or just plain ordinary everyday inertia. Going to some far-off, exotic and mystical place, in the hope that we might find ourselves, may be a great relief, or even fun, but are we serious for an end result, or are we just looking for the enjoyment of a journey? And will the same mind-numbing realities be awaiting our return? Freedom, however, is only part of the equation. Having an unfettered mind, to enjoy that freedom with, is essential. And individuals with better performing minds are very valuable people. Why, do I hear you ask? Well, because there are too few of them about. And I'm sure that we have all been impressed by the person who can operate off the cuff, or on the run. We envy those individuals who can shoot from the hip at all times. We see these people as something special, but is it that they have something that we don't? Or is it that they are using something that we aren't? For the vast majority of us, our seeming inability to formulate, or say what we think and feel, does not negate the existence of these inner, personal things. It does not detract from our potentialities one iota. Thoughts are blindingly fast entities, fleeting, unreal. Sometimes we have to write them out simply to be able to clarify them, to give them substance, before they pass us by, leaving us none the wiser about the immense wealth of our memory's true holdings. Sometimes, we are even pushed into situations where frustration, or even anger, delivers a pent-up emotional tirade. And as we listen to ourselves, we are taken aback. We are as surprised by what we hear as the other listeners. Gosh! Did we really say all that? Good grief, we didn't know we had it in us. We are impressed by ourselves on too few occasions. When it happens, it's a terrific morale booster that really hits the spot. Of course, lots of people think that they know all there is to know about themselves. This, I assure you, is rarely the case. Try this and see what thoughts it delivers up into your mind's eye. Hold out your hand, palm towards your face. Look at the hand. Flex your fingers. Open and close your fist. Have you any idea of the engineering dynamics, interactive structural flexibility, and living complexity of what you see before you? You are looking at something that started its journey through an evolutionary hell, some 3.5 billion years ago. And you've had it how long? 20, 30, 40 or more years. The only thing you know about that hand is what you have been able to do with it. Above and beyond that, you know nothing about that hand. Oh. You might have seen pictures of dissected hands. If you're a doctor, or medical worker, you might even have dissected one or two. But the hand you are looking at, in its fullness, is a mystery to you. You do not have the faintest idea who, what, how, where, when or why it was designed and built. You don't know how many design changes it has been through, and you cannot even begin to guess how many more changes will overrun it before it finally gets to where it's going in evolutionary terms. Now tell me how much you know about what is happening in the rest of your body. Tell me about your mind. Explain to me what is happening in the innermost recesses and timeless dimensions of this near billion-year-old thinking machinery. Tell me about your dreams. What do you think has the power to allow you the experience of these wonderful jaunts of Mother Nature? Okay, that's enough. You will learn nothing about yourself by listening to, or reading about, someone else's interpretation of their account of reality. What is at stake is not the learning of how to put words on paper, or how to be as correct as the experts in the regulation and stiff use of sentence structure. No. What is at stake here is the chance to actually be part of the constructive mechanisms of pure mind, as it dreamweaves the thoughts, feelings, ideas, and collected memories of 1,000 lifetimes. What is at stake here is access to the greatest storyteller ever known. And it's sitting quietly between your own ears, patiently waiting for something interesting and exciting to do. But it won't come out to play until you close your eyes.